Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. We're so glad you could attend. Come inside, come inside. There behind the glass stands a real blade of grass. Be careful as you pass. Move along, move along. Come inside, the show's about to start. Guaranteed to blow your head apart.
I want to talk to you today about a dear friend of mine, one I shared the workplace with for the last 31 years and 5 months. Firstly, as his audit manager, before becoming his business partner in 1993. In that time, our firm has developed and changed to become the business it is today. And today, this day, 30th of June 2021, is his last as a partner at Lambert Chapman LLP. I am, of course, talking about Nigel Whittle, who has worked man and boy at the firm, having joined in 1979 in our original office in New London Road, Chelmsford, under the then name of Elliott Pearson & Co., having picked them because Elliott, beginning with A, was first listed in the Yellow Pages. I first became aware of Nigel when the firm at which I was employed interviewed the same candidate, and I asked if there were any other places at which they were being interviewed. He said, yes, Lambert Chapman, and described Nigel as an Art Garfunkel lookalike. Decide for yourselves. Bright eyes they both might have, but I don't think the singing voices are the same. I didn't meet Nigel till a couple of years later, when I turned up for an interview with him early one morning at the then Coleshill Road premises. It was a strange meeting in many ways. I was early, he was late, and I doubt that's happened again since. We sat and chatted with the door to the office open and said good morning to a couple of staff as they came in, I recall. He will say I used a rude word, but in those days that wasn't unusual. I use them a lot more than I do now. And so it came to pass that I joined the firm and we began to build the relationship that has served us so well over the years. In those days, we had more time. We went to the White Hart for regular lunchtime drinks and spent time talking about work and other things, often staying late to catch up on the work we'd missed. And it's continued pretty much along the same lines over all these years. In many ways, we're chalk and cheese. He's incredibly disciplined in comparison to me, for I'm far too easily distracted. He makes sure he fits in everything, especially his holidays, whilst I'm always struggling to keep up. But maybe that's what makes it work for us, as we let each other get on. And as many of you know, I do like a laugh, as does Nigel, but he has suffered from our, well, maybe my practical jokes. More than once, he got a note to call 01206 331 292 to speak to a potential client. Mr. C. Lyon, I think, was the first one I recall. Then there was G. Raffy, and of course we mustn't forget Penny Gwynn, only to be told there's no one at Colchester Zoo by that name. On one occasion, after a heavy business lunch, he got into a discussion before having it explained to him that, look, we get lots of calls like that here, sir. It's a joke and it's on you. And I really can't let this moment pass without telling you our Morecambe and Wise moment when we, along with Sean, went to Bournemouth for Graham's stag weekend. We stayed at the cheapest hostel that Graham could find, and discovered upon arrival we'd been booked into the same room. As we entered, Sean threw his bag on the first bed, a single, and bagsed it, before the double that appeared behind the door we'd opened was left for Nigel and I. He was traumatised. I remained pretty unconcerned, to be fair. It's at moments like this when you understand the real meaning of partnership. On our journey to the dog track at Poscombe, Nigel inquired of the taxi driver, how much is the fee to Whittam? Where's that? He asked. Essex, came the reply. About 400 quid, he was told. Worth considering. Give me your card and I might ring you later. When I woke up in the morning, he had come back, very late and very drunk, and was right on the edge of his side of the bed. I got up, made us all, including Sean, tea. And here comes the Eric and Ernie moment, when I got back in to drink it. I overheard him telling Margaret, his secretary, the next week, and he got back into bed to drink his tea. much to her amusement. Nigel ended up in Braintree when we opened there in 1986. A proposed merger failed to materialise, but the lease had, so Nigel was given the opportunity of opening the office, taking a few clients from Chelmsford that were in the area to begin with. Here's an early shot from the opening party with Lloyd Chapman and a number of original colleagues. From there, Nigel put an incredible effort into repaying the faith that had been given him. And I recall a conference when we were told to settle down after suggesting we'd get Braintree to £500,000 in turnover. And here we are with Mike Lambert, the person who settled us down in 1993 when I was first made up to be a partner. We developed a reputation for doing things a little differently. Against his better judgment, I persuaded him and Chris Harman that we should do a self-assessment presentation as a play, with Chris and I taking on personas. Me, of the old tax system, in place for over 200 years, and Chris as the new system represented by Hector the inspector. Neither of them were keen, but after a read-through, they agreed it was probably going to work. After 3 or 4 performances, we were allowed to lay it down, with everyone agreeing it was a very unique way of presenting the changes. And from there developed the Christmas plays, in which Nigel has played a variety of roles. So as they say in I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, let's have a look at some of his best moments. In 2011, Santa's systems were creaking at the grotto, and Nigel was Santa.
'Twas the week before Christmas, and all through this house my systems are creaking, and I'm becoming a grouse. Those stockings will hang by the chimney with care, but I'm not sure this year if I'm going to get there.
He played himself when we visited the firm in an episode of Trumpton.
It's Mr. Whittle, the managing partner. Hello, Nigel. Is the firm busy with 31st March audits for filing on 31st December? Will you get everything all done in time for the Christmas break? But you will give it your best shot.
I love my job as an auditor, there's nothing I'd rather be. I've had these pens for many long years, they're both good friends to me.
Before taking on the role of Captain Peacock last year in our Zoom presentation of Are You Being Served?
So there it is, Peacock. It's going to be tough to get the store back open, but Grace Brothers, like all local shops, needs to see some Christmas trade to be viable in the new year.
Well, it's an ambitious plan which I'm sure my team can deliver. Shall we invite them onto the floor? I mean call, sir?
One of my favourite scenes features both Nigel and Lisa in the Nativity, where they have to pay taxes the next morning and Mary is seen remonstrating with Joseph. It really picked up the vibe of the relationship between them at the time. It was brilliant fun.
Joseph, I can't do everything for you. You leave it till the last minute every year. You give me no receipts. We pay far too much tax. And this year I have a baby to consider.
You don't understand what it's like, woman. I'm a craftsman, not a bookkeeper. I just can't go on like this. Just moan, moan, moan.
Then in Scrooge, we saw Nigel giving really good professional advice in his fatherly way as he played the ghost of Christmas future.
We are the ghosts of Christmas future and have news that may assist your decision. The developer has insufficient funds for a deposit and won't be able to get funding from his bank.
But of course, things stepped up a gear when we did Brexit with Dad's Army, with Nigel absolutely spot on as Sergeant Wilson.
Right, okay, I say, chaps, would you mind falling in your office so that a captain man's got something to say to us all?
Wilson, what are you doing? This isn't a mothers' meeting. What with the upcoming Brexit, we've got to be ready to defend these islands once again.
Well, I don't really think things will come to that after all. 27 of us all got together and there isn't any plan to even vacate Europe yet.
And then, in Only Fools and Horses, his portrayal of Uncle Albert was very much appreciated.
During the war, when I served aboard HMS Peerless, we chased this German ship right through the Zanzibar
Oh, give it a rest, Unc. We've heard it all 100 times.
All right, Del, usual.
Cheers, Mike.
But his single line in Fawlty Towers, repeated in ever-increasing volume, is a great way to finish.
What is it now?
a gin and orange, a lemon squash, and a scotch and water.
Before we did the films, we were focused quarterly newsletter producers, each edition full of photographs to increase our profiles, including the competition at which prizes were won. Here's Nigel presenting fireworks to Matthew Swan. And in this picture, Paul and Nigel present the 6 bottles of champagne early one morning. Or were there 12? And had 6 of them been drunk by the time the photographer arrived? The winner looks rather queasy to me. And of course, we mustn't forget the Making Tax Digital, where we use short videos to set out the requirements. Here's Nigel as Delphinian, because he's a keen gardener, and John as his wife Marge, talking about retirement.
I think it's time to wave goodbye to all of this. You could stop work and spend more time with me instead.
Yeah, oh my God, I think you're right. It's time I get some work done. I've had enough of this, and we'll come back when Sean's got the books done.
And that's Nigel, brilliant practitioner, loved by his clients, respected and well liked by staff and partners alike. Our business developed wonderfully under his 19 years as managing partner, and all I have done is tried to keep that momentum rolling. As a business, we shall miss him dreadfully, but support his decision to take it easy and enjoy life to the full, while and when we can, restrictions permitting, of course. So please join with me in a round of applause to a loyal friend and wonderful colleague. And remember, if you see him at the bar anytime in the future, it's
A gin and orange, a lemon squash, and a scotch and water.
Coming up.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Nigel Whittle.
Right before your eyes, we will laugh from the skies, and he laughs until he cries, and he dies, and he dies. Come inside, the show's about to start. Guaranteed to blow your head apart. You gotta see the show. It's a dynamo. You gotta see the show. It's rock and roll.